that could fly, the RAF mobilized in Kenya's emergency flood relief. 2,000 square miles of the country was underwater, ironically, after the worst drought for 70 years.
Did you know that Kenya and the East African region has been in this state before? By this state, I mean the state of experiencing severe floods that not only cause destruction, but deaths as well. In the period between September 1961 and January 1962, the East African countries experienced the most severe floods in that century. Flooded rivers damaged both road and rail communications, agricultural activities were disrupted, and inhabitants of the worst hit areas were rendered homeless. In Kenya, that was just a year before we gained independence. At the time, the colonialists responded to the floods by providing food supplies to the affected communities by making airdrops. Doctors were also made available to tend to those who needed treatment.
Coming on top of the disastrous drought, the floods will put much of Kenya's agriculture out of action for 12 months. So help will have to be given all this year.
Similarly, the 2024 floods have greatly devastated Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, and Burundi. The floods have also impacted agriculture, transport, health, education, and tourism, which was just emerging out of the COVID-induced slump. Kenya has especially been affected in the past month, with President William Ruto announcing that at least 210 people had died by the first week of May. The country's National Disaster Operations Center reported that by the end of April, some 4,824 livestock had died, 27,717 acres of cropland were damaged, 264 small businesses, as well as 24 schools were affected. It is clear that following the floods, the East African region is staring at a looming food shortage after the extreme rains and floods unleashed a wave of destruction on farmlands in the food basket regions. There is a risk of disease outbreaks, and vulnerable groups need accommodation and access to essential services at a time where the government says it's establishing camps for the affected.
Nyumba zetu zikabebwa, hatuna mahali pa kukaa. Tulisukumwa na nyumba yetu, tukakosa mtoto wetu mmoja. Lakini ndio tumekuja huku tupate information ili tupewe ruhusa twende tukaangalie mahali tunaambiwa aliko, maana tunaambiwa amekufa.